Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. It's been a while. So, this episode we are focusing on communication. It's a much requested topic and much needed topic, especially for the people in the subcontinent. We have a problem of communication, guys. We are actually poor communicators. That's where we have to start. We are extremely rich in technical knowledge. And our guys, when I say our guys, everyone in subcontinent, they are super good in picking up a skill and knowledge, whether it's be it software engineering, whether it's motor mechanic, whether it's designing something, they are actually absolutely excellent at it. But as someone who traveled across Sri Lanka as well as across the subcontinent, I've seen this is actually a subcontinent problem, that we are actually poor communicators. Why is that? And why is that we are so good in technical and not really good in communication? And why it is the other parts of the world, they speak very well, but they're actually not even half as good as you when it comes to technical knowledge. So we're going to focus on that. So this is a very specific one for South Asians. So one of the problem is, it's actually same for Sri Lanka as well as India. I've been in Nepal, I've been to a few other countries in Asia, it's the same problem. The problem is that in our household, we were actually not given the platform to express ourselves. When we do express ourselves, however, they will condemn or shut down us. Parents do that unknowingly, unconsciously. Although with all due respect and they love you all and all that, the problem is that the good boy, the nice boy, the boy that who get all the credits is the person who keep his counsel or keep that person very, very quiet, no expression at all, and that person get all the credit. The boy who's sitting in a corner not speaking a word is a nice boy. That's how we give the identification in our family hall. So how do you expect that person to speak well when that person grow up? So if that's the way you groomed your child for 15, 16, 18 years, you cannot expect that person to speak well, can you? So this is a household problem. So if there are new parents out there, this is actually a grand opportunity. You're lucky that if you're watching it, you can actually not make this continue in our cycle, break free from this problem, and give your child a platform to express him or herself. Now the problem is, a lot of the time that people think, okay, what if this person now, if given the freedom to talk, this person will talk anything and everything that he or she wishes. When that happens, when the person crosses the line, put them back on the proper line. Teach them, coach them. Son, daughter, this is not the right way to speak. These are wrong words, wrong terminology, wrong way of approaching, wrong manners, wrong etiquette. Teach them instead of shutting them down. And when they express something that you think that is stupid, instead of branding that person and crushing his spirit, just say, this is actually a wrong information that you got. Let me just share the right information. Or let me just tell you or show you how to say it right. So parents have a huge obligation and responsibility when you're grooming your kids. The second problem that we have is actually we are all very poor listeners. Now, communication is a vast subject. When you say communication, the verbal communication actually account to a very small percentage. The larger percentage is your non-verbal communication. And think about it for a second. When you look at a painting, someone is actually communicating something to you. You look at some sort of statue, a couple of lion statue in front of a gate. The person, that building, that entity is actually communicating something to you. We are someone like this. We should be treated like this. You should behave in our premises like this. That those people are communicating something at you. So non-verbal communication is the biggest. So listening is a non-verbal communication that you need to develop. And Greek philosophy, they said you have one mouth and 2 ears. So you got 2 ears, so you can listen twice. And they elaborate. What do they mean by listening twice? Listening twice meaning that every single communication, every single time that someone is speaking something, that person is saying something, and also that person is not saying something. What is that this person is not saying in this communication? If you're very vigilant, mindful in this conversation, you can actually capture. This is something that you have to experience. I developed this skill over so many years in my life, and it's getting deeper and deeper and deeper. It's a wonderful skill to develop. The problem is, like, a lot of people, that when they speak to someone, they just think, what should I say the next? So they're busy thinking, what should I say the next? So they completely forget about this what this person is not saying. So communication, your communication become half-hearted or weak because you haven't listened to what this person is not saying. Had you listened, you actually had the opportunity to capture, this person is lying, this person is a crook, this person is misguiding me, this person actually doesn't believe in my cause, this person is not actually going to turn up on this day, he's actually a person who's going to stay in this country, or this person might not stay in this country in the next few months. All sorts of things you can actually capture to the point that you feel like you have psychic powers. If you really pay attention to what this person is not saying. So make the decision, I'm going to listen. So because you know what you know anyway. So don't worry about that. Just focus on what this person is saying and what this person is not saying. The next problem that I have is the non-verbal communication is actually very poorly practiced and very less spoken. Because again, it's a national problem, it's a subcontinent problem, that we are very poor communicators. So it comes bundled up with the non-verbal communication is extremely weak, poor. Actually, it can actually backfire on you as well. So some of the situations that you're actually good, you like the person, you have no problem. It's just that you showcase a very wrong body language, the first impression, and actually going to go in a very wrong direction. And you wonder how things went wrong. So to mitigate that issue, there are hundreds of thousands of body language tricks that I can share, but the most superior one of all, know the power of smile. Smile with a human being. When you meet someone for the first time, you know that you're communicating with that person even before you open your mouth. So smile, have a nice smile. Nice nod, nice smile, that's all you need. You can practice that when you're walking on the pavement, when you're driving, just look around with the other driver, just smile. You go to a premises, enter a premises, regardless of that person, who that person, and what sort of a title that person holds, just smile. And you might have the question, like, okay, I can smile. What if that person doesn't smile back? That's not a problem. Often that's not even within your control. Usually it's contagious. People are actually often very inclined to smile back, but given the time that you don't know what sort of a problem that this person is going through, that person is having some sort of a struggle, that person is probably suffering, wrestling with a huge problem, probably one of his relatives is in ICU, we never know. So he forgets to smile. So we don't know what's going on. So you take care of yourself, you keep smiling. Couple of things going to happen instantly. Number one, you are definitely in a good state of mind. When you smile, you're in a good state. And second, if that person was just about to stay against you, or say something against you, or to stand oppose you, that person actually might do it less or might not do it at all because you have a nice broad smile on your face. It's difficult to challenge that when someone is smiling at you. So know the power of smile. It's one of the strongest non-verbal communication. And then comes, for us Sri Lankans as well as everybody in the subcontinent, the language, the English language. Learn and master this international language, the global language, the business language. So I've seen, when I actually probe into this, when I walk in different layers of society, I see people have actually high skill set, extremely knowledgeable, experience, they have expertise, some incredible knowledge, wisdom. The lack of English language, they don't have a platform to express in international arena. So our guys, when I say our guys in subcontinent always had to rely upon some guy who's in the US or somewhere coming from an English-speaking country. So as a result, this is neo-colonialism is going to continue, guys. So the one way you can break free from that is you determine, you know what, I'm an expert of this subject and I'm going to learn this goddamn language, right? So one of the problems that I've seen in up north in India, in Nepal, in Sri Lanka, wherever I travel, even in Southeast Asia, the moment you speak in English, the moment you speak about this language, they put this language in such a superior state. I guess it's the colonial mindset. So it's time for you to break free from that. It's just a language. The language we speak, English or Sinhala or Tamil or Hindi or Urdu or Basa or whatever the language that you speak, is actually much more superior, much more broad, old, and has such gravity because this language has so much of meaning. We have a word for every single thing which English language doesn't have. In fact, the English language has to steal or borrow heaps of words from this part of the world. And when you probe a little deep in, you'll find out this language, what we call English, the foreign language, is not so foreign at all. It's actually Indo-European language. It was formed by the Sanskrit, heavily influenced by Sanskrit, it's been found. And even the English language itself, there's a huge percentage come from Spanish, from Italian language, from Germanic languages. This language is actually formed by so many languages, so many cultures. So by all means, it's a global language. It isn't owned by the English anymore. So own it. Make it one of your tools. I say make it one of your servants to serve you. Don't become its servant. Make it your servant. So this is one of the way that you can crush this mindset and take the unnecessary power that you are given to the slave and enslave that language to serve you. In that way, you can actually broaden your speaking capabilities and make use of this world because, like I said, English is a global language. Whatever the subject that you pick, it's very likely this English language, you have books written in English language far more than any other language. That's the truth, right? So if you really learn the language, suddenly your capabilities of learning, reading, widening your knowledge become incredibly wide, incredibly more deep, profound. So it's important, whatever the subject that you do, whether you are a software engineer, whether you're an artist, a singer, whether you're a sportsman, a psychologist, whatever the area that you master, learn this language. And that comes to the next one. So if you want to learn, and if you are thinking of how can I learn this language to a point that I can be fluent in this language, you don't have to learn in so many different sources. Just pick the subject that's so natural to you. Right? If you are an artist, if you're a filmographer, if you're into coding, software engineer, whatever the skill that you have, just focus on your natural habitat and Google or go to a bookstore, buy a book, find an article that explains your subject and read it carefully. This time you're reading it in a way that you're going to learn English, not to learn your technical knowledge. So you read it and capture the words, capture the sentences, capture the phrases that you didn't know before, and get a book, write it down. And once a week, recite it back. And it's going to broaden your knowledge. And 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, fast forward, you're such a rich vocab, such a rich capacity in that language. It's very simple. You know, this is the best time in the history of the world to be alive, to learn any skill, including the English language. So if there's any word that you don't understand how to pronounce, it's pretty easy. Just Google it, and there's a way it's been shown how to pronounce. And you can pronounce the way it's been pronounced. You can slow down its speed. You can really listen to how it's been pronounced. It's so easy. You can go to YouTube, type that single word. You can always find out how it's been pronounced. So you can learn that language. So learn it, make it your tool, and make the most of it, guys. So this is what I want to share in this episode of communication. And please share your thoughts, your questions, and I'll see if I can answer whenever I can answer. So I'll see you in another video. Until then, live with spirit.